Kythe, is that a doll or a what? No, not, what's the word? It starts with the C. A carcass. Excuse me, a carcass.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Like they're
Right.
going through. Is that a doll? Kai, have you seen Cornelia? Is that a doll or is that a dog?
A dog
We'll
carcass.
deal with that later. Have you seen Cornelius Syncraticus?
She
They
just
just went that
answers.
way. Okay.
She just answers something like,
Right. Yes, mother.
This ain't your grandmother's dusty old poetry book. Fall in, bookworm maggots. This is Poetry Bootcamp, third Friday of every month on the Poets at War Creative Network.
For men grow weary of fairyland when the dragon is a dream, and tire of the talking bird in the tree, the singing fish in the stream, and the wandering stars grow stale, and the wonder is stiff with scorn. For this is the honor of fairyland and the following of the horn.
How are you, Alex and Debbie and everything?
We're doing fine. Just
Good.
working away, reading a bunch of books. I'm like 20% of the way through Life at the Bottom by Dalrymple right now.
Okay. Very nice.
So that's very interesting.
I heard you cracked. Have you finished with Liberty and Justice for All?
Yeah. Yep.
What'd you
Wrapped
think of
it
that?
up earlier today. Good. It was good. It was a good like introduction to theonomic, to the principles of theonomy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah, I once again find it so interesting that he's just quoting all of these people that based off of what you've told me he's had
Right.
significant issues with in the past.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He has no problem quoting somebody.
Yeah.
What about have you cracked Joseph Campbell yet?
No, haven't cracked Joseph Campbell yet. I've got a copy of it in the car with me. I just haven't taken the time to read it because I've generally been listening to the Bible Reading Challenge stuff on audio whenever I've been driving.
Gotcha. How's that going? Anything in particular with that you're going through right now?
Bible Reading Challenge? We just wrapped up Job.
Yeah. Job? Nice.
And Job is such a good book. It's so good, man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just striking to me how interesting the story structure of Job is, with him constantly battling the people who are around him, and then God coming in and saying, "You really have no clue who you are, do you?" It's just fantastic.
Right. Yep, definitely.
The Book of Job. So yeah.
So yeah. Have you updated any of the Bible, the show Bible stuff since we were last on?
I have not updated any of the show Bible. I have been working on the map, and the last version that I have of the map I posted. I've done some thinking on the history of it and how exactly that will work. Like what nations started as other nations, where the tensions geopolitically are. At this moment. So I'm gonna grab the iPad so that I have that whenever we need it. But yeah, I haven't written much down.
Okay.
One thing that I think I've written down, I developed more character for the principle of the Hugh Vernon Academy.
Oh, Hugh Vernon. Okay.
Yeah, Hugh Vernon. So, like, we'll need a principal. We'll need him to be kind of a driving force antagonist. And so I decided that spending a little bit of time giving him some definition would be good. So, one second, pulling up my stuff, as well as I have Lena Faulkner
Mm-hmm.
written down. So what I have for her is a bright girl and popular to boot. Lena is one of the captains of the rugby cheerleading squad at Hugh Vernon. She is tasked by Principal LaFleur to befriend the Rutt twins and introduce them to school life. So I'm having to limit myself to the side characters having only one sentence or one or two sentences to themselves. Otherwise, I'm just going to start writing way too much and get completely
Right.
lost in the weeds.
Yep.
So that's what I'm working on right now. And then the principal, I have Dr. Terran Lafleur, was the top of whatever class he was in for all of his life. After he graduated valedictorian at Capital University, he immediately began teaching at the school his hometown was starting. He spent the required 2 years teaching each lower form, and then he spent the required 4 years teaching the higher forms. He is now the principal.
Okay.
So
Gotcha. No, it's okay.
I've done a little bit of work on figuring out what the actual school system itself is going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
As you saw there in that in order to become principal, you have to work your way through the grades effectively,
Right.
so that you have had
Yeah.
experience teaching all of the different grades, which is, I think, just a really cool idea. I believe I remember somewhere on the Theology podcast them talking about how that's how it used to be. And so I decided
Okay.
to use that.
Yeah.
Oh, yep.
Yeah. That makes sense. So what
But
do we need to work on today?
I'm really not sure. We honestly could start. We have enough. We could start with an introductory poem. Just get some poetics written down, like Brendan suggested last time.
Yeah. Do we have a basic one paragraph outline of the first episode and or the season, like individual episodes? Like I think I know we know our beginning of the season and the end of the season. I don't think we have our individual episodes, so we could work on that. Kind of plan out the season. I'm open to options as far as that goes.
I
I
still
do think
think that having the first episode be like the Ruts having people over for dinner,
Mhm.
um, just to introduce everybody to the family is a good idea. I'm willing to be overruled on that one, but I I still think that that's a good idea.
Who would they have over?
A guest family, or like a family friends who we haven't worked on yet, but we can figure out, like, literally just do one sentence. Okay, this character is, this is what this character is, this is what this character is, as we go.
Okay. Have we discussed the specifics of church and church life? Are we just doing a basic uh Anglican essentially at this point? Like it would be a kind of an Anglican situation. Hello, Brendan.
Hey, Brendan.
Hi.
Good to have you. We know the child is having crazy time, so if you need to pop out, pop in, whatever you need to do, let me know, okay?
Right.
No problem. No problem whatsoever. We were just discussing what we needed to do next on the story. I was saying we should probably work on outline for episode 1 and maybe little one paragraph outlines or ideas, synopses for the first 10 episodes, which would be season 1. We kind of have an idea of the beginning and the end of season 1, but I figure we can go to that now. Alex was saying have a neighbor family over during dinner, and that would be sort of our introduction to the family, kind of showing each of their character a little bit, sort of at the very beginning of episode 1. I think that's a good idea. sort of do the poetic equivalent of like a cinematic one shot where you're just kind of a long one shot, like a 2-3 minute one shot where you're just going through the whole house, seeing the family doing what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Do the poetic equivalent of that. I like that idea. We should write that down.
I mean, I think this is like the third time I've brought that up as a
It is.
possible opening, so I'll write it
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think the end of the first episode, what we're shooting toward is them actually becoming part of the school, basically, like or getting invited to be part of the school, one way or the other.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, having it end with them being invited to the
So
school.
the attention of the episode would probably have to do with their creative drive causing mayhem and them yearning to
Would
do
it
more than what they're currently doing.
would
That's what
it
I
be their
think.
would it be their creative drive causing mayhem, or could we actually like flip the script a little bit and have it be where like the parents are trying to sit Cornelius and Caradicus down to have like talk to them about this offer that they've received, and Cornelius and Caradicus are very excited about their friends coming over and trying to get the house in order. I feel like having that inversion might be fun.
I wanted to hear Alex's idea one more time.
Okay.
The which idea? The overarching idea, just having people over for dinner, or what?
Rather than them, it's their creative stuff getting them into trouble and hijinks. You said rather than that, we would do.
Rather than that, what if we had a inversion of the general way that kids and parents are whenever people are coming over? What if we had the parents trying to pull Cornelius and Caradicus aside so that they can talk to them about this offer that they've been given from Hugh Vernon to have them show up there as, or yeah, it's an offer. I think it should be, right. It's not a
Yeah, I think
demand; it's an
so.
offer.
I think
Um,
so.
Yeah.
So they're talking about this offer, and Cornelius and Caradicus are, not now, Mom and Dad. I've got to get prepped for the beans coming over.
Okay. I like the name Bean.
Something like that.
I mean, I think there's kind of room for both of them to have a different take on it.
That's true.
Yeah, we
But,
could mix it in. I just like the inversion there.
Except that the inversion that it's like, yes, they could have different takes on it, but the point is they're not listening because they're not listening to the parents, and there's no communication happening. The parents already know about the offer, the kids don't.
Yeah,
that's the problem. So and the hijinks comes from the kids basically trying to organize while the parents are trying to basically pause the organization. We have already established that Cornelius and Caradicus are twins who are basically perfect foils of each other.
Yes.
Right. Is that something you want to tap into now? Or is this a table, or is that something we want to like reveal more further on down the road? Because one of the things that like you don't have a ton of like, obviously I missed some of it because I was delayed. I'm sorry, Frodo. I was delayed.
A wizard is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he needs to.
Nope, he was delayed. He was stuck on top of Tower of Orthanc. Here's the thing. I don't know what you're thinking of for like the scope of season 1. I don't think, given the length of the poems that Joshua tends to write for each chapter, I don't think we can expect an entire Harry Potter plot in one season.
Correct. This
You
is
have to
more like
realize
one book
I'm
is
being
one
told-
season. Harry Potter length.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I don't think we can even get one book done in one season.
I think we can. Generally speaking, it's about 10 poems an episode, and then 10 episodes a season, so about 100 poems.
Oh, okay, never mind. I'm
Yeah.
okay. So okay. Never mind. I'm
10
much smaller.
10 seasons an
poem-
episode.
No, 10 poems an episode. The poem is roughly 3 to 5 minutes in length, like a song,
Okay.
right? And then roughly 10 poems, to 10 poems to an episode, 10 episodes to a season. So about 100 poems in total for a full season, roughly.
It will be significantly shorter than like a Harry Potter book or something like that, and we'll
Yes,
have to
but
be
it's
even
poetry.
choosier. We'll have to be even choosier than Rowling was, where she like doesn't describe the in and outs of everyday life throughout the books.
Right.
She just like picks, okay, well, in spring this and this happened, and then in the summer nothing really happened, and then in the fall like these 4 things happened, and then in the winter everything, whatever.
Right.
As far as that goes. So we'll have to be even choosier about those things and make each moment have more impact. But I think that we can do it. And we can always stretch it out to 11 episodes or 15 episodes if we need to. If we're having trouble fitting everything in and we're like...
Or add one less poem in this one, and it might be a little longer.
Right.
Or something.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Even have this be like an episode 0. And then episode 1 starts with them at the school. But like episode 0 is the dinner party. And instead of being 10 poems, it's 5 poems.
Okay.
Yeah.
If we need to. We don't even know what we're doing yet. So just we have that flexibility. We can make it as long or short, each episode, each season, whatever.
I brought up one of the earlier episodes if we wanted to keep my general structure or not. I'm perfectly fine throwing my general numbered structure out the window, but I find for poetry, this is a good rule of thumb if you're doing serial epic poetry. It just helps things be organized and flow simply, but you can do anywhere from I've done a 20 poem episode with rhyming Cinderella, for example. The story of Cinderella had a lot more like ins and outs and twists and turns, and it made more sense to do it as 20 poems instead of 10. I'm perfectly fine with changing the structure as need be, and we may end up deciding that's what we need to do and sort of modeling things after the first episode of whatever it ends up being. I'm fine with that. But right now, I guess thinking of it in terms of 10 is just what I'm used to, and I'm okay changing that. So,
and for what it's worth, I don't think that we need to change that.
Right.
Like, at least right off the bat, I don't think that there's any reason to think that we'll need to change that. I've read... Am I the only one who has read all of Guardians of Atlanta?
Probably.
I think Freddie Morales did. A few other people have. But yeah, a lot of people haven't gotten through it all.
Yeah.
I have it right there on my desk. I just need to listen to it. The main thing that got me tripped up was I confused an episode with a season. That's where my trip up was. I forgot that there are 10 poems per episode and then 10 episodes in a season. I forgot that there was that multiplicative effect. I thought you were going to try to cram an entire season into 10 episodes.
Or 10 poems. Yeah, no.
10 poems. No. I was like that's not gonna work. But I see that I was wrong, and it will work just fine, thanks.
Like I tell the kids I work with, sometimes adults are wrong too.
Sometimes adults are drunk too. What?
Wrong.
I mean, sometimes they're drunk as well.
Oh. And frequently,
it's funny how similar the way I think.
He's like looking up.
Does being drunk lead to being wrong, or does being wrong lead to being drunk? More metaphysical questions with Alex at 11.
Get out here.
Hit the burnt marshmallow theme.
I don't want to. Send it back.
Okay, a mildly toasted beaver instead. How about that?
Ah.
You like that theme?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I like that theme. I think it's better. I think it's well made. I mean, both are well made, but you know.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yes.
Interesting.
What is the
I'm got distracted by my email, and
How dare you?
the entire collection of Focus on the Family Radio Theater is on sale right now for 25% off.
Nice.
Aww.
And what does that come to?
It shouldn't be too terrible. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we're gonna stick with what we have as a structure roughly for now, and then change it as need be. If we create episode 1 and it's way longer, then we'll figure it out, etc.
You're looking to answer your question before we continue. You're looking at about $10 for most of them, like Secret Garden, Oliver Twist, Secret Garden, Les Miserables, Little Women, Christmas Carol. Those are all 10. Then there are bigger ones like Oliver Twist and Screwtape Letters are 20. And then the entire Narnia collection is 60 right now.
Nice.
So, yeah,
60 is a good
deals.
price for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still
I was
trying
just
to get
thinking
over
of what it would all be together. Anyway, go ahead. What were you saying, Brendan?
I'm still trying to figure out the whole. It's not the collection is on sale. It's that a collection is on sale.
It's not that the collection, all of them together is on sale. It's the collection. All of the stuff that they have is on sale.
Their entire library is on sale.
That.
Yeah.
I was intentionally phrasing it in a confusing way.
You're good.
Congratulations, you succeeded.
So with that, we have sort of a beginning part of one. We need to figure out the specifics of what hijinks are ensuing, and how long we're going to draw them out through the episode. I do think that the climax. So go ahead.
So we're setting up one of like the miscommunication tropes almost. In like sitcoms,
I wouldn't call it that.
Well, like you got the one group,
but
you got the one group that like their situation would be resolved if they would just communicate.
I don't think so. I don't think it would be. I think we've got two guys who are like Alex said, organizing over the top about things, trying to sort of manipulate the situation to their advantage with the beans coming over. And I think what's going to happen is that eventually spirals into, I would say, dad takes one of them, mom takes the other one. And we sort of have, I would love to write a poem that is actually sort of a back and forth between the two conversations about what they really want and why they're acting out.
They definitely need to like kind of bounce off of each other, and they should cut into one, and they're almost like saying the same thing.
Yeah, similar things, yeah. And though slightly different, whatever, but then the sort of climax is the person who is inviting them to the school comes. And we don't necessarily get a cliffhanger, but we get sort of like we get the introduction to the school, and then it's like, well, we're gonna need to talk about it. Thank you. Bye. And then it's kind of like, well, guys, what do you want to do? And then you kind of that's the episode, in my opinion. But I'm listening to other thoughts. Daniel.
Just a fun little detail I was thinking of as you were talking about that. Like you have Cornelius and his dad, and Caraticus and his mom, or vice versa, however it works out. They're talking to their respective kiddo, and then they're saying the same thing, like they're in sync about most of it, but then they should definitely be out of sync for like one particular notable thing, if that makes
Right.
any sense. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that
just
does make
can't.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't quite pinpoint what that needs to be because we haven't really gotten there in the dialogue and
Right.
whatnot.
Right. Yeah, we got to
But
figure out what they're doing
yeah,
wrong as to how the discussion's going to go.
yeah.
But what do you think of that as a general structure?
It's not what I was thinking. We could
Okay.
definitely go. We could definitely go with it. It would work
Mhm.
to get it there. The thing that I was thinking is that we start off with the mom and dad having received the. We start kind of in medias res. Mom and dad have received the offer from Hugh Vernon, or from Dr. Rosella, and they have already decided. Okay, we'll throw it over to Cornelius and Craticus, see what they want. They're trying to talk to them, and then Cornelius and Craticus are just trying to prep for the beans coming. Sorry, prep for the beans coming over, and are just telling mom and dad to wait until after the ding. Second to last poem, ding dong, the beans are here. And then the last poem of the episode is them sitting down with Cornelius and Craticus and explaining the offer, and Cornelius and Craticus jumping back and forth a little bit and then saying, "Sure, we'll try it." Something along those lines.
Okay.
Now we have a couple of things, like, because you guys obviously have these characters very well fleshed out in your heads, and I don't. So, do Cornelius and Caraticus, do they generally get along more often than they don't?
Yes.
Or okay.
So it was explained to me because I was having trouble understanding it. Cornelius and Caraticus are, for lack of a better way of explaining it, they have a similar dynamic to Aaron, my brother, and I.
Yes.
That's
I just
fine.
forget. Yeah.
Except that I get that. The main thing that I'm running into from a problem perspective is that normally characters like these are side characters.
Yes.
You don't normally get a character duo like this as a protagonist.
Phineas
Right.
and Ferb, although Phineas
Right.
is kind of the lead. Zach
Yeah,
and Cody.
that's one example. Yes. Yeah, Zach and Cody's another one. There are others, but yeah.
Zach
There
and
are
Cody
others.
are an idiot duo. Cornelius and
Yeah.
Caraticus
Yes, they are.
anything but.
That's why I said Phineas and Ferb. I'm just thinking the duo. Yeah.
I'm not
duo
saying
leads.
duos don't exist. I'm saying duos of this nature are usually side characters
Correct.
because they are competent. And that's the thing. You want these guys to be competent, but you're now currently setting them up as incompetent by not like full-blown incompetent. You're setting them up to being like their flaw is that they're not listening to their parents. Like, you're not getting around that, right?
Mm.
Yes.
Intellectual maturity doesn't necessarily lend itself to emotional maturity. So
yeah.
Yeah.
But he is right, because we don't want to introduce them emphasizing a quality that will be de-emphasized later.
You also have a hard time, like I'm just having a hard. Okay, so let's assume for the sake of argument that we have an episode 0 that is this build up. All right, I just for the sake of bloody argument.
Sure.
This allows you to have more time in the for 10 episodes in the what's it called, in the school itself, and whatever hijinks happen there. Let's assume also that episode 0 we want to be a prologue, so we want it to be shorter. That means you're only getting 5 poems for this, or even 3, because you can make it 4. You can make an argument that you have an introductory poem, a Cornelius poem, a Caraticus poem, and a Beans show up poem, and then the 5th one is the final discussion where they're doing whatever, right? Where they're
sure.
telling them about the offer. Just very, very, very loose breakdown. All right, we're doing 5.
Sure.
If again, you want to introduce the characters if you want them to be like, how old are these guys?
They're
I
12, I believe.
Yeah, I think we said 10, 11, 12, something like that. I
11.
think you
They're
might have
11.
that. 11?
They're
Okay.
11.
So if they're 11, what are they doing why are they the ones who are trying to, and if they're in the middle child, why are they the ones trying to organize the house for the beans to show up?
Because they're very
I
excited, was my
look,
idea.
I was
Go ahead,
thinking,
Dan.
I mean, it always usually they had 7 kids, right, in this family.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes.
Yeah, I just know from my experience living in a house full of that many kids, it usually fell on one of the middle kids to be like the cook and the waiter. So,
The I okay, so I think that the biggest thing that needs to be tempered by the parents in this situation, regardless of their disposition toward the beans, regardless of their situational whatever, the biggest thing that needs to be tempered is their zeal. That's the main flaw that we're dealing with, is untempered zeal. Pretty standard in 11-year-old boys, right? We've got overactive imaginations, hyperactivity, all that other stuff going on, and they feed off of each other and create a feedback loop. If Coraticus was by himself, he would probably actually be pretty chill and have no problem just like sitting in his room and reading, but he gets hyped by Cornelius, right? Cornelius is more the kid who's constantly chattering, constantly got something going on, and Coraticus likes that as far as like feeding off of it and ends up mirroring it. That's the way I see it. However, whether we go with the Alex situation where they've already gotten the offer and they're trying to talk to them, but their zeal and their craziness and their hyperactivity is keeping them from doing what actually having a conversation, then we can figure out where the beans come in. Or we can do it my way that I initially talked about, where basically the whole thing is about the beans coming over and trying to get the house together. I think that like them not doing their job because they're distracted with some kind of experiment that could potentially blow up the house is way funnier, right? And way more up their alley than trying to organize for the beans and being too distracted by work, right? That seems like less of an issue than, they've got some kind of crazy experiment going on.
I know of no 11-year-old boy who would go out of their way to organize a house because their friend is coming over.
Right.
The most I would ever genuinely do, I think they would try, but like they're still kids. I know my brother, he would like he's got OCD, so like he could really set a table if he wanted to, and he got fixated on it. But like you're still gonna have like kid hijinks of like, oh no, Coraticus has burned the chicken.
Or, they're nerds, so they could be setting up some kind of, don't call it this, but like some kind of LARP campaign. Like they're spending the whole day setting up some big LARP campaign for the other bean kids to come over. And they're just off in La La Land,
Or it's or they found this experiment, they think it should work, and they really want, and they tested it once on a small scale, and they wanted it to show it to their friends.
Right. Exactly. Something like
that.
A
little column A, little column B. I just don't think that, like, showing that, I get the desire to want to show them as hardworking. That does actually make a lot of sense to me. I just don't know if...
Well, showing them setting up something intricate, but like being distracted from the things they actually have to do serves both purposes.
Yeah, they could like be told by their mom, "Hey, you need to help me set up for this for our guests," and then go off on their own little side projects that they're really excited to show their friends.
Right.
It's just a matter of figuring out what.
My bigger issue is if Cornelius and Caradicus are constantly like, not now, mom, where, because I mean, we didn't explicitly say this, but we never explicitly said, hey, the kids, the mom and dad are able to talk to Cornelius and Caradicus before they show up about the offer, right? Because that is another way you could do it. But if the parents are not successful in getting their children to sit and listen to them, that says something really bad about the parents. Not necessarily, like, I know as a parent of a 2-year-old how much they don't listen. Like, any parent worth their salt knows that, like, yeah, okay, if the parents can't get the kids to listen, that is life. At the same time, we're not talking about real life. We're talking about a story. All we're getting is this one snapshot of the parents, and all we see from them is they can't control their kids, and all we see the kids is they can't control themselves, but they're kids. So that's somewhat more understandable, right?
Yes.
So
So
I think that having stuff set up in such a way where it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm just sputtering. Never mind.
no, I kind of get where you're coming at. There's a lot. Everyone kind of needs to be shown in the house the best way I can describe it is the house needs to be fizzing. It needs to be just personalities on top of personalities living together, doing their thing, and it
But
just
functioning.
but functioning, yes, and feeling chaotic. And the main thing that is not happening, the main thing that's not happening is not them not doing their chore that they were asked to do, but the parents, if we're going Alex's route, the parents not being able to have the moment to speak to Coradicus and Cornelius about the invitation. Or if you go my direction, things are fizzing and fizzing and fizzing and fizzing until they're about to blow. And then you add in this one extra thing and everyone has to just stop and deal with the problem. Right? Mine has more of a build to it, but yours has a tension factor, right? I think both are totally fine. I'm happy to go with either, but I haven't heard a whole lot of argument from me or you either way. Like,
yeah, I'm good to go with either. What you were saying is exactly what I was thinking. It's the tension factor, and it's just them not able to get a moment with them. It's not that they can't control them, it's just that they're moving around so fast trying to get whatever they're trying to do done that uh, almost more like a so you started off by saying you like the idea of a tracking, like a unbroken track shot through the like through the house, meeting all the characters and all that jazz. Almost like you're tracking the parents, is they're going through the different rooms of the house trying to find Cornelius and Caradicus.
yes,
So
absolutely.
they go through and they're like, "Hey, have you seen Cornelius and Caradicus?" "No, I haven't."
Yeah.
They well, yeah, I did. They just ran down the hallway that way. They're not
Just
supposed to be running. Did you tell? I told them that.
Kythe, is that a doll or a what? No, what's the word? It starts with the C. A carcass. Excuse me, a carcass.
Exactly. Yes, like they're
Right.
going through. Is that a doll? Kythe, have you seen Cornelius? Is that a doll or is that a dog?
A dog carcass.
We'll deal with that later. Have you seen Cornelius and Caradicus?
She
They just went that way. Okay.
She just answers something like, "It was."
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can visualize the kind of thing she needs to say, but I can't get it out of my mouth.
Right. She just says yes.
Something that doesn't even like
yes,
directly
mother.
acknowledge the question.
Right. Yes, mother.
Yeah, that's more what I was going for. Not the parents being impotent to like tell their kids to stop, just that everything is moving so fast that they can't find a moment to grab them and pull them aside.
They have 7
Right.
highly talented and or intelligent children
Yep.
that are constantly
Yes.
moving and buzzing about. So yeah.
Also, the difference between the kids here and the kids that every single child that we've ever met, all 4 of us, is that these kids grew up in a world where they were expected to be extremely helpful and productive members of the household.
Right.
That's what they were supposed to be doing.
Right.
They weren't expected to do anything else. That would explain why they are working. Like, these are their friends. They're coming over. It would explain why, okay, they're coming over. We got to make sure that the house is ready. Let's go. Because
Right.
we're part of the
Okay,
house.
so
We have to make sure
I
that.
like
Just
Brendan's-
as a rationale there.
Yeah. I like Brendan's idea of an episode 0 with 5 poems. I really do, actually. So if we want to do that, what were the 5 that you were saying essentially, Brendan? Do you remember?
Tracking
or no?
shot.
Yep.
Mac, go away. Tracking shot. Cornelius. Heradicus. Beans arrive. Offer.
Yeah.
Right. That was the
Yeah.
basic gist. The Cornelius episode and the Heradicus episode needn't be necessary. Like, you could. Part of me likes the idea of doing something where you have 2 poems that tell the same events by the same people or by the same sequence of events, but from the perspective of the 2 characters.
Yeah. That's not a bad idea.
This is actually something that I really, really like. There's an anime. Shocker. Brendan's about to talk about anime. There's an anime called Durarara, which
I know that one, actually. I don't know a lot about it, but I know it. Yeah.
I think it's insanely good. What will frequently happen is you will see you're tracking about like 4 or 5 different groups of characters, and they don't seem to be connected, but then you will be going through and you'll suddenly see something happen that happened in a previous episode. And you'll realize, oh, this is the same sequence of events, but from their perspective. And this happens over and over again until it eventually comes to a single point where all the characters meet.
Right.
So you're doing something like that, but instead of it being 4, 5, 6 groups of people across an entire city, it's 2 characters who are intricately connected, or in very 2 foils of each other, doing the same set of events.
Yes.
And you get to actually get a really quick, dirty, deep dive into their mind and how they observe the world and how they observe their sibling in, 2 poems. So it's going to take time, but it's something, right? And then you can take that idea, and later on we could do something like that.
Even if it's not the exact same sequence of events, I like the idea of maybe the mom and dad decide after the tracking shot that they have to fan out and find the 2 of them. They're actually in 2 different places. Dad talks to one, mom talks to the other, but it's a very similar conversation.
With very slight key differences
from the point of view of those 2 individuals. So you get to see a little bit of the difference in the way that they see things.
All right, but you would have to make sure that the mom and dad are shown to be sufficiently similar and on the same page and acting like one unit for what I am looking for to really have an effect. Because as soon as you add 2 individuals, you're getting the problem of the variables. You don't know how if Cornelius is talking to dad, you don't know how Cornelius would talk to mom.
Right.
Whereas if you have them in the same room at the same time with the same event, you get a much deeper dive or not a deeper dive. You get a more this is the difference.
You see what the lens is. It's about the lens. Yeah. Either way, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I think your idea is ultimately going to be better because you've done this before. But I'm just throwing wrenches into monkeys or something.
Well, I kind of want to play with both and see what happens. Getting them all in one place, the four of them, is the challenge if we're going as chaotic as I'm wanting to in the tracking shot poem. As far as the beans coming over,
Do we have to have their name be Beans?
I like that name. I think it's fun because we already got the ruts and the beans. They're very of the earth kind of people.
Okay. My friend had a kobold in a D&D game named Beans, and I can't unhear that.
Then there's anyway.
Anyway.
Okay, so beans.
Beans.
Maybe it's not the beans. Maybe it's actually like a small group of people from the school.
That would work.
Right? Like maybe Lena is her name, right? Or that's what we came up with. Lena
I don't think it should be Lena. I think that we should keep Lena's energy for the beginning of the school day.
Okay.
The beginning of their first school day. I think that should be held in reserve because we seem to have a really strong, a relatively strong grasp on who she is and what type of character she is. And she's going to be very energetic. And I think that this needs to be more like a calm before the storm moment.
Sure.
Kind of downbeat, kind of not somber, but contemplative almost.
Okay, so let's say we have one of the teachers and the principal that you had mentioned toward the beginning.
Yeah.
It's just the two of them. They're coming, and that poem, the fifth poem, should be them totally and completely caught off guard, possibly even offended and or disgusted at the ridiculousness of the chaos in the home and the family and all that other kind of stuff. We need to and one of them be kind of like, we need to educate these rubes, and then the other one being kind of like, yeah, no, they have no place amongst us, and they're just kind of split. And then Cornelius and Caradicus come in. They're asked like 3 or 4 questions, maybe less, and they're like, oh, okay. Right. And that's
like
sort
that.
of the yeah.
So is the feel you're kind of going for describing that Harry at the beginning of Home Alone?
Yes.
Whenever he's dressed as the cop?
Yes, and absolutely.
Everything is going on. Is there anybody who can answer my questions here?
Is someone going to pay for the pizza? Not my house, pal. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah. That's good. So poem 1 is a tracking shot. Poem 2 is poem 1. Before poem 1 started, I'm really holding tight to this in medias res thing for some reason. I don't know why. But before poem 1 starts, the parents pulled all the family together and said people were coming. We're having people over tonight. The kids assumed it was the beans and are now going wild.
Yeah, sure.
Doing whatever, getting the house ready, whatever we end up choosing that. They assume it's the beans.
Sure.
1 is, well, now they're all gone. Let's find Cornelius and Caradicus now. And then going through the house, meeting all the different people in the family, all that jazz, ends with them finding Cornelius and Caradicus. Setting them down, talking to them. Poem 1, poem 2, Cornelius's perspective, Caradicus's perspective.
Yep.
Poem 3, the rest of the kids are still going crazy and all that jazz, while the people from the school come in. Poem 4, the people from the school come in, we get their perspective on things, and then them getting real quickly shut up by Cornelius and Caradicus.
Right.
And leaving. So, poem 4 is their perspective, and then poem 5 is mom and dad and Cornelius and Caradicus together, one poem talking about what do we think about this? Are we going to? Is this something that we're going to do? And then at the end of poem 5, yes, we're doing that.
I think we have our outline. I will, because I'm sort of the draft writer, I'd say, of this thing, as far as the actual poems and whatnot, I'm going to re-listen to this and draw up the outline and begin work on it. And then actually bring stuff to here and talk about and change as the writer's room, if that's fine with everybody. If anyone wants to take a swing at draft writing, they can. But at least we can get it rolling, and then maybe someone goes, I want that one.
I'm not draft
it.
writing, but I am working on an outline right now. Like, just
fantastic.
Like, these are what each episode is. So I've got that written down.
Did you want to tell them about what you had for the principal? You said you had a little bit, and I don't think Brendan heard it. I think Daniel might have heard a little, but
yeah. So the principal,
this is of Hugh Vernon, not Anastasia Rosella. This is of the direct school they're going to.
Yeah. So Dr. Taryn Lafleur is the principal of Hugh Vernon. Taryn Lafleur was at the top of whatever class he was in for all his life. After he graduated valedictorian at Capital University, he immediately began teaching at the school his hometown was starting. He spent the required 2 years teaching each lower form, and then he spent the required 4 years teaching the higher forms. At the end of this, he became principal of the school, which is a position he has held ever since.
So that's what we've got for him. And you said you had a little bit more for Lena, is that correct? Or did you just wrote out what we had already?
Yeah, I just
this is the character we talked about last time, the sort of cheerleader. Brendan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Lena Judith Faulkner, age 13. A bright girl and popular to boot. Lena is one of the captains of the rugby cheerleading squad at Hugh Vernon. She is tasked by Principal Lafleur to befriend the Rutt twins and introduce them to school life. Very simple, one sentence outline. Basics. I'm trying to not get bogged down in writing stuff.
Fine. Why is she tasked by the principal?
Because she's peppy and attractive and fun, like good to talk to.
He thinks she'd be good for them.
Yeah. He thinks that she will represent to Cornelius and Craticus the best of what the school has to offer. Kind of playing with the system has worked well for her, and so he's showing that the system works well.
Open to thoughts.
I think that, I think she should be the kind of cheerleader who, like, yes, the system has worked well for her, but also she shouldn't be dumb.
Yes,
the problem is when you say cheerleader, the immediate thing is dumb. So we just need to make sure that she is not that. And
that's why I started it. Like, the thing starts with a bright girl and popular to boot. Lena is one of the captains of the rugby cheerleading squad.
Yep.
Like,
she might be a little short-sighted at times, but like,
dumb.
Right.
Yeah. She's a straight A student who's very popular, who is like exactly what you would expect as far as cheerleader prettiness goes, and she is chosen to help them because she's a model student. She's exactly what you would want a student at this school to be.
She's the very model of a modern major general.
I am the very model of a modern major general.
All right. Well, I think we've got all of that. We're at 1:15, but I did start recording early. Other things y'all want to yes and or talk about specifically in regard to episode 0? If not, we can talk further episodes, ideas for episodes, things of that nature.
I think that we should make sure, and this is a minor detail, that during the tracking shot, the dad needs to, at some point, correct some magic that a kid is doing by saying, no, I've told you before, you do not evoke the albatross for cleaning. You have to evoke the sparrow, or something
Yeah.
like that, just
I
to
like
give a
that.
little hint of how the magic system works before we
Yes.
actually take time to explain it, but
Yeah.
also to give him a little bit more character of they might all be distracted and crazy and wild, but it comes from somewhere.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I don't know how we
That's
would pull
good.
that off,
That's really good.
but just
Well,
including that. Yeah.
if we do the thing that I was suggesting, where like they tell them that everybody is coming, they tell them that people are coming over, they assume it's that, and everybody's rushing to get ready because the house is in disorder or something like
Yeah.
that. Then you have a reason for everybody to be doing as much magic as they know how to.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Very
Yeah.
nice.
Well,
Awesome.
I think we liked that idea. Well, of that or whatever. The point is we wanted the tracking shot. So however we do the tracking shot, at some point he's going to look in and go. He's going to say, "Have you seen Karaticus? No. Why are you evoking that? I've told you before. You need to evoke this instead, or whatever we want to say for
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
That's perfect.
Brilliant.
Yep.
Perfect taste of the magic system.
So in the school, one of the things that I thought of for an episode, sort of a Cornelius centric episode, and I do want to like do individually focused episodes sometimes too. Specifically for Cornelius, I think that we should have a typical oh wait, I'm a charismatic brain, but all the girls like the jocks, so try to be a jock kind of episode. And I think there could be a lot of fun from that. That's just one example of an episode. It's extremely tropey on the surface, but when you start subverting a few things here or there, it can be something decent, you know? So there's that. And remember, we're trying to fill out a whole season. So like, yeah, the bad ideas will go by the wayside eventually, but that's just immediately one of the things that pops to mind for me. I think that we should do for Karaticus, I think something centric to him. I like the idea of something really, really, how do I put this?
nerdy.
So, well, no, something really introspective for him. An episode that is almost like in his head, in his own world, like on a bad day, so to speak.
It should be set in the same meter as Invictus.
Let's see. But yeah, no, like I think that there's perhaps even a thing where he knows that there, I kind of have this idea that he knows that there is something wrong, but can't put his finger on it, and it's driving him nuts. Specifically in regard to, I'm not happy, but even saying I'm not happy isn't leading me in the direction that I want to like investigate.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Something where he is so turned in on himself that bad things start happening around him. And he's somewhat oblivious to it and kind of needs to be pulled out of it. Really delve into his idiosyncrasies in that regard.
Yeah.
I do think that the idea, as far as the family goes and things happening with the family, we want to focus mainly on the school. We want to focus mainly on Cornelius and Karaticus, but having one episode somewhere where Kythe uncovers something like legitimately disturbing and dark just feels right as a scene.
Yeah.
And it being brought back to the parents' attention and them having to come into some sort of action, possibly in regard to the school. Possibly we have a bad teacher, and the bad teacher calls some things into question, but it's like legitimately an outlier, not like someone who Anastasia Rosella sent. Like this is legitimately an outlier in the system,
There's
an anomaly.
Kaith discovers a teacher practicing black magic or
Yeah,
something
basically.
like that. And
Or,
it's like,
or like in the woods somewhere, you know?
yeah.
Like, yeah.
Like straight up like a Baba Yaga type figure of like she's eating
No,
people. What?
not quite Baba Yaga, more like,
Yeah.
oh, that he just sacrificed a chicken on a stone altar. Um
Right.
I'm dark and twisted, but this is way too rich
Right.
for my blood.
Right. Right, exactly. So that's something that I just feel as a scene has somewhere in the later half of the season. We're not getting into a lot with the 3 older ones in this season, but I would like to explore, maybe even have an episode where the main question becomes, okay, we have a show and tell where they have to bring someone from their family to show off a special skill or their job or whatever, right? Like it's a career day, whatever. Just something really basic as far as that goes. And we have them bring what's our slow guy's name?
I was
Blacksmith.
his name is Ahaziah. His name is Ahaziah.
Ahaziah. Yeah, Ahaziah. So they bring Ahaziah and he's showing them some of the blacksmith stuff. And people start asking questions like, you know, what's wrong with him kind of thing. And that can lead into furtherance of the actual story between the older 3, right? The social dynamic that we have with them, just introduce that as part of the story. And maybe even have someone in the school accuse Ahaziah of something and they deal with it and he's okay, like he's cleared of any wrongdoing, but just how quickly people are to judge that situation just because he's weird and different and whatever. And to Cornelius and Caraticus, they never really thought of it because his accident was when they were very little, right?
I thought though that only Cornelius and Craticus were the ones going to the school.
They are the only ones going to the school.
So
I'm
why
saying that
would Ahaziah be involved?
Like I said, it's sort of a career day sort of a thing. They bring him as a member of the family to show off his blacksmithing skills, right? So yeah, that's the idea that I had, and I think that could be a decent episode. Like I said, I'm throwing darts at the wall, seeing what sticks as far as episode ideas. We need more episode ideas in general to start filling out the season. But
when are we going to introduce the sourdough?
That's a good question.
We'll worry about that later.
Sourdough could be part of the tracking shot, to be honest with you.
Yeah, just him like just scooting across the screen.
Scooting across the screen. I think he's you know, maybe he's the one who alerts Dad to them evoking the albatross, and he's like, no, they aren't listening to me. This is not the way you show hospitality.
Or it could be even like he's just like reading a book and smoking a pipe up the top shelf.
The sourdough starter is smoking a pipe. That sounds like some Jim Butcher nonsense.
Guilty as charged.
That's
guilty
exactly
as charged.
What I'm going for.
So, yeah. Other episode ideas? Anybody? Yeah, go ahead.
Currently, we have 3 episode ideas. Cornelius trying to be a jock, Caraticus going super deep into himself, and Kaith discovering something extremely dark.
Yes.
As well as show and tell.
Ahaziah show and tell, yeah. Those are the 4 that initially like just popped to mind. Obviously we're working toward the finale, which is going to be what was our finale looking like? There's we had talked about it a little bit, I think.
Yeah,
but
I know. I'm trying to remember what it was.
we know we're moving toward them moving to either moving up in some kind of way or moving to a further school or something of
Yeah,
that nature.
moving up. This season's at Hugh Vernon. Second season is at King's Eyrie, directly under Anastasia Rosella, and the third one is in Scotland.
Right. So we're moving toward King's Eyrie is what we're moving toward. Do we
Yeah.
want what we're going to have to decide if we want Lena to follow them, like she gets upgraded too, or not, depending on the situation and what her role in the finale is.
Lena should follow them. Lena should
Mhm.
follow them to King's Eyrie. But half of me thinks she should not be able to take the heat there.
Ooh.
Like not even intellectually. Like she's keeping up intellectually, but like she's there technically. Like she's smart enough that she's there, and nobody thinks that she like bribed her way in or parents paid or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
Like she's keeping track there, but she's technically on a cheerleading. Like she's technically there because she
Gotcha.
made a cheerleading test or something, and she just can't cut it in that realm.
Scholarship, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
not quite a scholarship because I don't.
Right, but
like, I'm not sure
right,
how
right.
we would have to figure out the
Yeah,
system
yeah.
for that. But basic, similar scholarship there, and she just can't quite cut it. She disappears halfway through the season. Major blow to them. Major
Yeah,
blow because they're
okay.
like
That's
they're
season 2,
good
yeah.
friend. They've made other friends, but their good friend is no longer there to help them. They've already started to uncover like whatever they end up starting to uncover in King's
Yeah.
Eyrie. And then maybe she like maybe they do something. Think Esther, the story of Esther, where they end up helping. They're like Mordecai. They end up helping the school district or the school figure out something, and they're like, "Is there anything that we can do for you? We want Lena back."
Right.
He comes back for the last like 2 episodes. Make it a 2-parter. Maybe this is a 12-episode season. Make the last 2 episodes a 2-parter. She comes back, helps them uncover the thing at King's Eyrie. Dr. Rosella gets super ticked off at all of them. Sends Lena back to Hugh Vernon, completely revokes her scholarship, and sends Cornelius and Craticus, naps them off to Scotland.
Right.
So they're separated
okay.
for season 3, and then actually come back together in season 4.
Do we want to do our Santa Claus in season 1? Have a Christmas episode? Christmas break?
No, I think that should be season 2. I think that fits a lot better with a boarding school aesthetic than with a elementary school aesthetic.
Agreed, actually. Yeah, go ahead, Daniel.
Could it almost be a like a special?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like an in between the 2 seasons special.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Ooh. I like in between the 2 seasons. You
And
could also
it could be slightly longer, so you could have 12 poems.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're open to 12. But yeah, this might be a 15 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's saying 12 poems in the episode.
For a Christmas special, just 12 for Christmas.
That'd be interesting. That'd be fun to do a 12 days of Christmas
type-ish thing.
Okay. Yeah, maybe.
Like
I like
the
that
magic
idea.
of 12 days of Christmas and whatnot.
Okay, we'll plan on that, I think, just because of the specifics. That just really fits the structure. Okay. Other ideas for episodes, or do we want to wrap?
I think we should get at least 1 or 2 more ideas for episodes that actually like work towards the arc.
Yes.
Actually, you know what? Never mind. Trying to think. Oh, we need an orientation episode. We don't have that listed. That gives us 5 episodes.
That ain't bad. It's moving in the right direction.
That gives us 5 episodes and our episode 0.
Yep. Okay. I think that's good for tonight. Brendan or Daniel, did you guys have anything else you wanted to add?
I have nothing as far as like actual like episode ideas are concerned.
Mhm.
I'm yeah, I don't have any good ideas when it comes to the actual episodes themselves. Alas, earwax. I think that you'll like I like the idea of uh the girl not being there and then them asking for her back and that ticking off Roselia.
Yeah, in season 2, definitely. I think that'll be
Who
great.
who's
Daniel,
the
would
girl again?
Lena,
Lena,
And that's a sister or friend?
the cheerleader's
Friend,
friend
cheerleader.
character. We
Oh,
talked
okay.
about that
Yeah.
last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh,
Her
I
middle
named her.
name's
Oh my
Judith,
goodness.
thanks to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
By the way, one thing that I forgot to mention, I was listening to something history related recently, and they were talking about Margaret Sanger and how she was actually, I think it was with Liberty and Justice for All, or Liberty and Justice for All, talking about Margaret Sanger, how she was, she was the youngest of a big family, and she hated being the youngest of a big family and thought that it was more humane to kill you,
right.
like kill your younger children rather than have them be born there.
Yes.
Dr. Rosella should be a more Christianized version of that.
I agree. Yeah.
Like she wouldn't go as far as to say it is better to kill your child than to have them be born into a large family. But the ideas that she has would work themselves towards something
That
along those lines, given like 100 years to play themselves out, something
They
like that.
need
I thought
yeah.
of that this week and wanted to bring that up.
Big families need more found family because they can't sustain the amount of people idea. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll go ahead and wrap here. Everybody be your family's bard. Do not turn to the right or to the left, and the Lord will be with you wherever you go. We'll see you next time in the Writer's Room on Poetry Bootcamp.
Pew pew.
Right.
Poetry Bootcamp.
For the horn was blown in the heart of the night that men should rise and ride, keeping the tryst of a terrible jest, never for long untried. Drinking a dreadful blood for wine, never in cup or can. The death of a deathless dragon, that is the life of a man!
No mamby-pamby beatnik coffee lounges here. This was Poetry Bootcamp. Third Friday of every month on the Poets at War Creative Network. For more, visit joshuadavidling.com.